Hello everyone. In this short video, we are going to discuss the topic of barter system, requirement of money, functions of money, and the demand of money in an economy. Let us assume that we are a dairy owner and wish to sell milk and we require a pair of shoes. So, what we have is milk, but what we want is shoes. To be able to fulfill our wish, we would need to find a shoe seller who also requires some milk so that we can exchange our milk for his shoes. Since both of our wants must necessarily match, right? The shoe seller must want milk and the milk seller must want shoes. Both our wants must necessarily match. We call this situation as double coincidence of wants. Double coincidence of wants, because both of the wants are coinciding together. This is why it is called as double coincidence of want if we want to execute a successful exchange of goods and services. This type of economic exchange without the mediation of money is referred to as barter exchange, right? This type of economic exchange, where we are exchanging one good for another good or one service for another service, what we are doing basically is we are exchanging goods and services without money, and that is why the economic system where the exchange is taking place without the mediation of money is known as what? Barter system. In the situation that we discussed just now, there are only two parties, right? One is shoe seller and the other one is milkman. In other words, this is a very simple economy. But if we increase the number of economic agent, let's say here are only 2 economic agents, but let's say we increase the economic agents to 4 economic agents. Now what will happen is the milkman will have to go to each one of them and ask them whether they want milk or they have shoes, right? In such a situation, we have increased the number of economic agents with their various wants. We would be looking for something close to the real economy, which is obviously very complicated. Real economy has a number of various economic agents and thus it becomes very complicated. But as the number of economic agents increases from 2 to 4, of let's say 4 to 8 or 8 to 16 economic agents, as the number of economic agents increases, our milkman would have trouble finding the person who is seeking to buy milk and has shoes to sell, thus making the search cost prohibitively expensive, right? The milkman will have to go to all these people and ask if they want milk and if they have shoes to sell. By doing so, it will take both time and money. Oh, and by the way, it is both expensive as well as time taking, so our milk can also get spoiled because of the search time, causing losses not just for the milkman but the whole economy as well. We can safely say that the barter system becomes exponentially difficult as the number of economic agent increases. It becomes prohibitively expensive and the search cost increases exponentially. Rather than directly selling milk for shoes, what our milkman can do is sell his milk for some rice. What we will do is he will sell the milk for rice and take this rice and buy shoes. Rather than directly selling the milk for shoes, what our milkman can do is sell his milk for some rice, and the shoe seller can also sell the shoes for some rice, making rice as an intermediate goods, right? Rice here is coming in between milk and shoes, thus rice becomes what? Intermediate good. Rice becomes intermediate good, which is acceptable to all parties. Such a good is called money. This intermediate good is what is known as money, which is acceptable to all the parties: the party which is selling milk, the party which is selling shoes, the party which is buying milk, the party which is buying shoes. Everyone is accepting rice as money or as intermediate good. Rice here is acting as money, but it can easily be replaced by coins, gold, silver, or anything that is acceptable to all the parties, even cowrie cells or trump cards or anything that you wish, such that rice or say money becomes medium of exchange. This intermediate good, which is money, it becomes what? Medium of exchange. Moving on to the next slide, we see what other roles apart from being medium of exchange money can play in an economy. The very first function of the money, it is to be a convenient unit of account, or let's say convenient unit of record, for say comparing the sales of different days of a shop, 1,000 today, 2,000 tomorrow, and 3,000 the day after, or to compare the prices of 2 pens, 3 books, and so on. The national income accounting is also made possible only because the value of different goods and services can be represented by their money value, right? Let's say we are producing 1 car, 2 rickshaw, and let's say 4 slippers, but we cannot add these things together, right? 1 car plus 2 rickshaw plus 4 slippers, this is absurd. What we can do is we can convert the value of the car in nominal terms or in rupees terms. We can convert the value of rickshaw in rupees terms, and we can convert the value of slippers in rupees terms. What we will get is we will get the value of all these items in the terms of money, and then we can compare, we can add, we can subtract, we can do number of mathematical operations on this. The national income accounting is also made possible only because of the values of different goods and services can be represented by their money value, as we have discussed here. It would be highly difficult to add 1 car, 2 rickshaws, and 4 slippers for a farmer to find his assets. These functions of money also gives an idea about its purchasing power, right? As the name suggests, purchasing power is the power of money by the virtue of which it can be used to purchase some items. Let's say a pen is costing 10 rupees in our economy, right? Now is for 1 pen. I can rewrite the equation as 1 rupees equals to 1 by 10th of a pen. So my purchasing power of money is equals to 1/10 of a pen. One money is able to purchase 1/10 of a pen. It becomes the purchasing power of money. So money is convenient unit of account. It helps us to compare and contrast different value of different goods, and it helps us to record our sales or just to help us in keeping the accounts. The second function is to be the medium of inheritance. The second function is to be the medium of inheritance. Why it is used as medium of inheritance? In the ancient time, animals like cows and camels were seen as wealth of a person, but they cannot be passed down from generation to generation after they grow old and die. But because money is imperishable or non-perishable, non-perishable means something which cannot be decayed or destroyed or suffer death, right? Money does not suffer anything like this. So we can store money for a long period of time without actually requiring to take care of it. It is non-perishable. So what we can do is we can transfer our wealth from generation to generation. I am giving my money to my son or my daughter, and she will be giving her money to the next generation. The third function is to act as a store of value, meaning that we can preserve our wealth in the form of money more effectively as compared to keeping it in the form of animals, right? In the previous case, we have discussed animals which requires feeding them and housing them. Or consider the example of our milkman from the previous slide. He would need a refrigerator to save the value of milk, otherwise it will become curd, right? of his milk, and it requires a lot of physical space to preserve that value. In money terms, he can put that money in his wallet, but he cannot put the milk in his pocket. It requires a lot of physical space to preserve that value. The fourth, and in my opinion the most important, is the function of money, that is it is nearly universally acceptable, means everyone accepts money as value. This property is also called liquidity. Now, why liquidity? You might be wondering. Liquidity comes from the word liquid. Liquid means some material which takes the shape of its container. This property of the money is also called liquidity. Just like liquid, which takes the form of its container, be it a cup, glass, or bottle, we can change the money from one form to another very easily. If you have 20 rupees, let's say if you have 20 rupees, you can take this 20 rupees, go to a shop, buy a bag of chips. You can take this 20 rupees, buy ice cream. You can take this 20 rupees, buy pens, copy, or anything that you wish for. Just by giving it to a shopkeeper, you can change your 20 rupees for a nice copy or a nice pen. And this property is precisely because money is universally acceptable, right? Everyone accepts money, so the shopkeeper will accept your money. He can use that money somewhere else if he wish to convert that money into something else, because it is universally acceptable. It is a kind of circle that completes itself. Money is widely accepted because it is most liquid. Money is accepted because it is liquid, and money is liquid because it is widely accepted. So this whole thing becomes a circle. Now, on the next slide, we are going to discuss about how to estimate the demand of money in an economy. Obviously, since the most basic functions of money is to be medium of exchange, right? Most basic function of money is medium of exchange, or in other words, to act as a facilitator of transaction. So by common sense logic, we know that if there are more number of transactions happening in an economy, the demand of money will increase. Now, which kind of demand will be it? It will be demand for transaction motive, demand for transaction, which is represented by MDT. The other source of demand arises from speculation, and hence called speculative motive. Speculative motive, which is represented by MDS, S for speculation. Speculation means to guess, to predict, to anticipate. Now, what we are predicting, what we are guessing, and what we are anticipating is the interest that we earn from money saved in banks by foregoing the liquidity benefit of keeping the money with us instead. Now, let's suppose we have a bank here. Now, bank is giving us some interest rate. Let's say bank is giving us 10%. Now, if bank is giving us 10%, ideally what we would do is we would put some amount of money into the bank and keep some amount of money for transaction, some amount of money in the bank and some amount of money for transaction. Obviously, the money that we have put in the bank cannot be easily converted to whatever wish. We cannot easily convert it to 20 rupees bag of chips or pen or anything like that. So money kept in bank is less liquid. This liquidity versus interest foregone is known as liquidity preference. What? Liquidity versus interest. Either you have liquidity or you have interest. Liquidity is if you keep the money with yourself, or interest if you keep the money in the bank, is known as liquidity preference, and it is affected by the interest rate offered by the bank. Obviously, if the interest rate is higher, you would choose to keep more money in the bank, and thus you will forego liquidity But if the interest rate is lower, you would choose liquidity and forgo the interest. The total money demand is thus calculated to be the sum of MDT plus MDS. When we add these two demands, we get the total demand of money in an economy. In the next video, we will discuss in depth both the concept of MDT and MDS. Comment in the video about the various functions of money that we have discussed in previous slides. Thank you, and follow for more explainer video about macroeconomics and commerce in general. Follow Commerce Uncomplicated for simpler explanations. Thank you.